Hey everybody, Alex here with Transcendental Studios. Welcome back. It's been a while. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Yeah, we're going to forge with ice instead of a fire. Ice.
Good right there, Bobby. Just swing around. He's right there down here behind you. So should be good right there, Nick.
And the reason we're going to forge with ice is because I'm dealing with a liquid metal. Now, originally I thought, what if you could forge mercury? That'd be neat, freeze it and then, hammer on it until it starts to, obviously at some point it's just going to liquefy and boom, it's going to be gone. And I thought, that's a pretty good idea.
Back just a little bit, Bobby.
But what are the challenges? Okay.
Going.
The main challenge is the freezing point of mercury is so low.
Oh, ain't there? Fuck. Can we roll up my line? Yeah, roll up your line.
The main problem is that the freezing point of mercury is so low that I can't remember off the top of my head, so just like a wild guess is going to be somewhere around negative 43 or something like that Fahrenheit. And so basically, I live in Texas. The only possible way for me to liquefy or solidify mercury is with liquid nitrogen. And buying a carboy of liquid nitrogen just to try this out, no. I ordered a 20-gram vial of...
How many slick trucks you got sitting out there, Chapo, Amy?
I ordered a 20-gram vial of gallium, and let's see what happens with that. I know the melting point / freezing point of that is 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And so, in my estimation, somewhere between refrigerator temperature and melting temperature, it's going to be ductile. And I mean, it makes sense to me that just like anything, as it gets closer to its melting temperature, it gets softer and more malleable, right? So that's what I'm going with. And so that's what I'm going with. And I bought, god dang it. So that's what I'm going with. And I think somewhere, my predictions are, I think it's going to work. I've got to be careful. Well, I shouldn't have to be too careful because the temperature is going to be in the mid to upper 70s. So the room temperature should not be warm enough to melt it. So I should be able to work it somewhere between refrigerator temperature and room temperature, because room temperature is going to be, I don't know, 5 or 6 degrees below melting point. So, and even if it were hotter, well, okay, so because of the temperature, I'm not going to have to keep dunking it in ice, which is what I originally thought I was going to have to do, is because it's going to be 100 degrees. I got to watch the temperature and keep dunking it in ice water to keep it solid so it doesn't melt while I'm hammering it. And so I do have some ice water, but I doubt I'm going to build up that much heat, from hammering or whatever. And my object is I'm going to try to make, just do a taper on the end of the gallium. And because it's not hot, I can hold it with my fingers and tap with a little ball peen to start with, and we'll move on from there. If I got to grab it with tongs, I will, so I can hit it harder. So I'm going to do a taper, and I'm going to try to do a leaf out of it. And if it works, I don't know, how to forge the leaf out of liquid metal. Now, I know I could cast it. Now, I know I could melt it down, warm up the, make a little mold, warm up the gallium, warm up the mold, pour it in there, and then let the whole thing cool. Well, that's not the point. I mean, I could make a gallium leaf like that, but I want to see if I can forge one. So join me for this little adventure, and let's see how hard this is to do. Okay, well, that did not go as planned. Now, I bought the little plastic vial of gallium, and I could not get the gallium in solid form out of the vial. It was stuck to it. So what I did was I have a bunch of extra wax laying around, and I put a bunch of wax in a prescription pill bottle because it's tapered. And then I stuck a Sharpie pen through a piece of cardboard and stuck it down inside the wax to leave like a little cavity. And then I liquefied the gallium and I poured it in there. And then, you know, I don't know, maybe sometime later, it actually sat in the refrigerator for a considerable amount of time. Then I pulled it out and just split the wax in half and pulled out my little gallium nugget that I had there. And now, it didn't matter. I originally started, like you see in the video there, I started at like refrigerator temperature. So whatever the temperature of my refrigerator is where that was at. I could not get a reading on it with my temperature gun, and I literally bought that temperature gun just so I could track the temperature of the gallium, and I couldn't get it to read. Just too small of a piece, I guess. And so originally I had it at refrigerator temperature, and it shattered. And I was like, well, that's not going to work. Okay, so so I put the whole thing in my hand, and I melted it under warm water and poured it back in the mold, cooled it off, pulled it out, and the wax, since I'd already split it, did not seal entirely, and so some of the gallium like worked down in the cracks of the wax where I'd split it apart, which that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. I still had most of the little boule of gallium, and so then at that point it's at basically room temperature, and I tried it again, and I think the bet I was 78 degrees. That's the temperature of the gallium. So I was 7 degrees below the melting point, and it's still just the slightest little tap of the ball peen hammer and it shatters. So gallium, a liquid metal you cannot forge. I imagine someday I'm going to try mercury, but that's going to have to be a little ways down the road. And thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and hey, see y'all at Quad State. Peace.